Welcome to Uplift. We're so very glad that you're here. We're so glad that this opportunity is ours every day, Monday through Saturday. So please join me in this Uplift today. We're going to talk today about resilience. And I know this is the perfect time to be talking about how to become more resilient. Let's start our Uplift today with some prayer. Please join me. Knowing that there is the one life of spirit, that is what is within us, living us, breathing us always, that nothing has changed. So with so much change in the world, we know that is the constant. That is the continuous truth of us. It's guiding us, it's leading us, and it's living as us. So I know that that spirit, alive and well, is all that we really need. We cling to that, we remember that, we live that. And so I give way to that spirit to guide this time, to guide each and every life. We know it is good and very good. Releasing this now with great gratitude. I let it be, and so it is. So today, our topic is all about resilience. Now, if you're like me, you might feel a little bit like you've been in prison, but imagine this. You are in a cell that is only 8 by 7. 8 feet by 7 feet. You're 45 years old, and you are now in a situation where you've been committed to a life in prison. This is the story of Nelson Mandela. He persevered. He is a model for us, is he not, of resilience. He was in the prison until he was 70 years old, and then emerged to become the first black leader of Africa, of South Africa, and became a Nobel Prize winner. So what do we know about Nelson Mandela? Let's look at some of the things he told us and said to us. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the truth and the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not fear, but he who conquers that fear. He said it's not about not feeling the fear, but conquering it. So he is someone we can look to for an extraordinary example of resilience. The thing that I also appreciate is that he learned from his experience that he needed to leave that prison with the hope in his heart, the gentleness that he somehow manifested and stayed with, how he became this gentle, loving man with all that he endured. But he taught us that in order to leave that prison and become free, truly free, he needed to leave his cares, more than his cares, his resentments behind. Another quote from him. As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew that if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. What I also know we can learn from this is that we all now, in the middle of what we're going through, can live every action as if it has far-reaching consequences. I'm pretty sure that everything that Nelson Mandela did and thought and chose made a difference for the rest of his life. And that we can do that now. That we can make choices now that will have consequences later. And we really don't know what our endurance and our resilience during this time is going to result into. Maybe we'll be world leaders, and maybe we won't. But what I do know is that the choices we're making right now make a difference and may have consequences in the way things will turn out. We all have purpose. And sometimes it's just treating ourselves and others with kindness. So can you do that right now in your sheltered space? And can I do that right now in my sheltered space? I believe we can. So the message I get from Nelson Mandela is perseverance, and to continue in spite of what conditions we're dealing with, to plant the seeds in order to be resilient. The end of this is happening. We know that for sure, that this will come to an end, and we want to have positioned ourselves to be our best self, to have learned from this experience. So we saw that Nelson Mandela, he passed away at 95 years old, that he was that wonderful model. So let's mop his legacy. J.K. Rowling. She wanted to write a storybook. We probably know some of her path and her journey, not an easy one. She went through difficulties, she went through trials and tribulations. She at one point was divorced, single, impoverished, living in very small quarters herself, depressed, and yet her vision was to complete and to publish this storybook that she was so very passionate about. She relied at some point on state benefits. We're hearing a lot of people who never thought they'd be on any kind of unemployment insurance or state benefits, that this is what some of us are experiencing. But she, in spite of all those obstacles, came to that point and of wanting to publish this book. She took it to a number of publishers, like so many great writers, many rejections. Finally, someone said, well, let's give it a whirl. And the rest, as we know, is just the history of it. And that was the publishing of a book you may have heard of called Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Again, she went on to persevere even after other setbacks, to continue to write and continue to publish additional books. I hope that hearing the stories of these amazing people is making a difference. Making a difference. I know in researching this, I'm so even more inspired by Nelson Mandela, by J.K. Rowling. Maya Angelou. Can't talk about resilience without talking about Maya Angelou. What an incredible life story, that she gave us such hope. Her message was one to tell us we too can persevere and be resilient. She became the symbol of resilience, and again went through so much hardship and so much adversity. Her personal life, there was a point in her life when she was literally so traumatized that she was mute for 5 years. She came out of that. She persevered. She made a difference. She still had losses and challenges. Her friends and colleagues, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, were assassinated, and yet she persevered. What her message was that these events shaped her, but they didn't define nor stop her. Think of that in your own life. The events that are happening to you, around you, and by you, they are shaping your life. But there's nothing happening right now that is defining us, that needs to define us. So what can we learn about these examples? I'll read another definition of resilience that resonated with me. Resilience is the ability to be aware of what's actually happening in our life, rather than what we wish was happening, and to deal with the circumstances effectively. Now, I'm with a lot of us. I want it to be different. I don't like this staying home. I'm a social person. I want to be out and about. I want to be at my Vision Center and hugging and caring about everyone. But this is not what we're doing right now. What we're doing is reaching out through Uplift. We're reaching out through our Sunday service. We're reaching out in phone calls. We're reaching out in other ways. So wishing it was different is kind of futile, isn't it? So instead, we can be more aware of what's actually happening. We want to realize that there is a wonderful spirit that is guiding us, that we have and always will have and will not lose the qualities of God, those wonderful qualities of balance and order and harmony. We still have love. We still have joy. So there is something that's going on, perhaps in spite of having those truths with us. We call it sometimes spiritual discontent. And I know that's happened for me. I want so much to do more. When I had the opportunity to come on to do an Uplift broadcast, I just jumped on it because it's my way to contribute. I want to contribute to inspire. I want to contribute in any way I can. And for goodness sakes, I want to contribute to our beloved Reverend Patty and give her a day off. So this is what I know is to make a difference and make a contribution. So we're maybe feeling that there's even more anxiety going on because we can't quite do what we want to do, and we really want to give and want to make our contributions. What Andrew Shotty, a PhD, in his research discovered is that those who feel connected to something larger than themselves, their family, or their immediate community are operating at the highest level of achievement. So the higher purpose, it gives us the ability then to withstand things. So think of then in terms of what's a higher purpose that we could all pray about and be about. The highest purpose I can think about is global well-being, praying for not just our family and our friends, but absolutely knowing that all is well and everyone is safe. So praying for that, bringing that meaning to our life. So if today we do nothing else but know that truth and believe it and feel it in our hearts, we've made a difference. So the other thing that we can do besides the thinking globally to make a difference and to bring meaning to our life is to pay attention. It's magic. It's the way we can practice resilience right now. It sort of prepares us to be more resilient, to pay attention. So how can you pay more attention right now? What brings you alive? What interests or hobbies have you ignored that you can bring back? How can you use everyday experiences to build on your resilience? To focus on those qualities of God. How is it, by the way, that right now, for some strange reason, in my neighborhood, the birds are singing more loudly? Well, I'm not sure they are singing more loudly, but I'm listening more carefully. I'm listening to notice them. I'm appreciating them. So this is the everyday kinds of things that are happening. We can do this idea of gratitude, endless gratitude, and focused gratitude to really be aware of what's going on and to bring our attention to the present moment. So what's going on with you right now? Right now. Look around your space. What can you value, appreciate, enrich just by your being, just by giving it your attention? This is what we can do right now to build our resilience, and it's available, is it not? It's available with our next thought. What brings you alive? What interests could you bring forward? How can you use your everyday experiences to build your resilience? So who knows? Maybe we'll be among the ones that can look back and be very, very satisfied and proud that we made a difference with our being in order to enrich what's going on, enrich ourselves, which of course does make a difference to everyone else. The more centered, the more present, the more alive we are, the more difference it makes in the world. So that's our story we can tell, that we can look back on the spring of 2020 and be able to tell stories about how we were so resilient and came out of this with even more awareness, more connection, more spiritual deepening, and that's our opportunity. So please join me in a prayer. We come together with such joy and gratitude, knowing that this moment contains everything we need. And the more that we're aware of that, the more it's true. So I'm so grateful that this is the truth of this day, of this moment, that we have right now everything we need. We are grateful for all that we have, for every morsel of food that we have, for every sheet of toilet paper that we have. We're just grateful. Be grateful for all things this day. And know that that is building your resilience, our resilience. Thank you, Spirit, for this capacity to live these principles and know the truth. And so it is. I'm so very grateful to have joined you today on our Uplift. Keep in mind that Uplift is available Monday through Saturday at 1 o'clock Pacific time. And also, Reverend Patty will be back on Sunday. She does the Sunday 10 o'clock service. We are so grateful that that is ongoing. The Sunday service includes music. It includes a wonderful message. It includes prayer. We adore you. We love you. We thank you so much for being part of our Vision family. Bye-bye now.